Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, March 8th. There's almost 400 albums coming out this week. I got 11 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist I put together every week, and the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoy the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's about 400 albums coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 11 on the show today, though. So if there's something I don't talk about, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up this week. And like always, if you're unable to find any of these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section if you want to pick them up. The big album this week is one I know a lot of people have been looking forward to. This is the new album from Judas Priest, Invincible Shield. It's their 19th studio album. There's going to be a black version of this, and there's also a red version. The red version is an indie exclusive version. It's a 2 LP release that's going to run you about $43 online. This is the first album from Judas Priest since Firepower in 2018. And to be completely honest, I haven't listened to Firepower all the way through. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 tracks I've heard off of Firepower. It's an album that got really good reviews when it came out. Andy Sneed produced Firepower. He's also producing Invincible Shield. Andy Sneed is one of their touring guitarists. So I'm sure this is going to be similar style-wise to that album. The funny thing was, when I was reading the description for this album, it said it was the Judas Priest's first album in 6 years. And I was like, well, that's not true, because Firepower just came out a couple years ago. 2018 was 6 years ago. I don't know where the time has gone, but like I said, it's one I'll definitely put on my list to stream and check out this week. And then you also got this live album from the Rolling Stones coming out live at the Wiltern. This is a 3 LP release. There's a black and bronze version, which is the Amazon exclusive, and then there's a black version that's going to be in your local stores. It's a 3 LP release. It's going to run you about $60. This is all recorded in November of 2002 at the Wiltern in LA. You know, we've seen a lot of live albums from the Rolling Stones come out over the last, probably 10 years or so. There's been a few of them. But what makes this one different than pretty much everything else that they've released is for this show, with this show in particular, the Rolling Stones, yes, they played a couple of their big tracks, but a vast majority of this show was all stuff that the Rolling Stones rarely played throughout their career. And that's what makes this one a lot, very different from everything else that the Rolling Stones have released over the years. It's one that, I've never checked it out. This is going to be available on CD also. I might grab it on CD. It says $60, even though it's a triple LP, is a lot for me to drop on an album, especially right before Record Store Day. But, like I said, I'll probably grab the CD and check it out this week. There's a couple of big Alice Cooper releases coming out this week. The first one was this expanded edition of Billion Dollar Babies. So this was released back in '73. It was their 6th studio album. This is a 3 LP deluxe expanded edition that they're doing for this album. It was the same thing they did with Killer and with School's Out last year, which I'm surprised because this is being released for the 50th anniversary of Billion Dollar Babies, which of course was last year. So like I said, I'm surprised they didn't do Killer, School's Out, and Billion Dollar Babies all last year, which, I don't know if there's a production delay or what there was, but this one's going to run you around $70 online. I've had this one pre-ordered since it was first announced. So what makes this one different than everything else that's come out for every other release of this album over the years? This is what they're calling a $1 trillion edition. It's got the album is newly remastered, which that's the one thing I can say about that Killer version and School's Out from last year. Those are both remastered also. I couldn't really tell a big difference between that version and really any other version of that album over the years. So I'm not expecting there to be a huge difference sound-wise between this and any other version of this album that I've got. But what makes this one kind of cool is you're getting studio outtakes, alternate mixes, and then kind of what is the disappointing thing about this album is it also comes with a live show from '73 from Texas, which appears, it looks like online, it is the exact same live show that was released for Record Store Day back in 2019 for Billion Dollar Babies Live, which I already have on vinyl. Of course, I picked it up on Record Store Day. It is a great live show, but I would like to see them do something a little different. I don't know if there is other live shows that they could have done for this release, but like I said, it's already available, so it's kind of a little disappointing because I think both of the live shows they did last year with Killer and with School's Out, neither one of them had been released on vinyl before. So you got that one coming out this week, and then you've also got Theater of Death, live at Hammersmith 2009 coming out. This was released back in 2010. It's a 2 LP release. It's going to be on red vinyl. Comes with a DVD of the entire show. It's going to run you about $40. I will say that not a big fan of DVDs. I would like to see them do a Blu-ray edition of this. Maybe they'll release a Blu-ray of it separately. But so this is recorded live at Hammersmith Apollo in London in 2009. The thing I can say about Alice Cooper live shows or Alice Cooper live albums is pretty much everything I've heard from the 70s, early part of the 80s are fantastic. After the early part of the 80s, I feel like a lot of those live shows, the audio recordings weren't really fantastic, or some of the shows themselves weren't really fantastic. This is a great show, though. I've listened to this one before. Like I said, it's been available for almost 15 years now. But it's cool to see it get a vinyl pressing of it this week. He plays all of his best known tracks. I think there's 27 tracks on this, over 2 LPs. It is a great show. If you love the later part of Alice Cooper's career, I think it's a great live show to grab and check out. You also got the new album from Bleachers coming out this week. This is their 4th studio album. There's at least 3 different versions of this that I've seen. There's a black version, a clear version, and a blue one. The blue version is going to be the indie exclusive version. It's a 2 LP release. It's going to run you around $33 online. Of course, Bleachers is a band fronted by Jack Antonoff, who's known as one of the best producers in music today. Really cool indie rock band. They've got some alternative stuff in there. There's some new wave. There's some synth pop. I've enjoyed the first 3 Bleachers albums. This is one I'll definitely check out this week and stream. I'm not sure if I'll grab a copy of it yet, but so this album was supposed to be released 2 years ago, but the band ended up leaving RCA. I think they're with an indie label now. So with the change in labels, I think caused a delay in the production of this album. If you're going to grab a copy of it this week, just kind of keep in mind that it is going to be available on CD, but the CD version is missing 4 tracks. There's 4 tracks that are only available on the vinyl version of it. So you're getting those 4 bonus tracks on vinyl if you're going to grab this album. I'm not sure if those 4 bonus tracks are going to be available on streaming. So I'm not really sure. I haven't seen the track listing on any of the streaming services yet. But anyway, I'll definitely check that one out. And then you've also got a reissue of the self-titled album from Plain White T's coming out. This was released in November of last year. I'm not sure if this has been available on vinyl. I think this has been available on vinyl already, but this is their 9th studio album. It's going to be on white vinyl. It's going to run you around $23. Of course, Plain White T's is known for Hey There Delilah, which I think the band has way better tracks than that one song. I'm not the biggest Plain White T's fan, but this is one of those albums I've got to add to my streaming list and check out this week. I would kind of compare them a little bit to Bleachers. Definitely had that indie rock vibe, but with Plain White T's, I think it's definitely more on the poppier side of it. I would call it indie rock with some like power pop and some pop rock in there. But they've got some really good stuff if you want to go back through and dig through their career. The next album is one that I guess I really don't know exactly what this is, but this is Johnny Cash, the very best of Johnny Cash. It's going to run you about $30 online. There's been like 10,000 different Johnny Cash compilations that have been released over the years. There's been at least 4 or 5 of them that have been called the very best Johnny Cash. The description on this one, I know it's got 16 tracks on it, but in the description it says this was released in 99. I don't see any release in 99 called the very best Johnny Cash. There was a 16-track compilation called 16 Greatest Hits or 16 Biggest Hits of Johnny Cash. So I think this is a vinyl release of that compilation. But like I said, I couldn't verify that because there's no track listing I found on any website for this release. I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan. I love the earlier part of his career. I love his entire career. He's one of my favorite musicians of all time. I've got a couple of Johnny Cash compilations. I'll wait till this comes out this week and see what the tracks are exactly on here. Like I said, because there was no track listing online. And then so you got that coming out, and then you've got KRS-One digital coming out. This was released back in 2003. It's gonna run you about $24 online. It's gonna be on purple vinyl. It has new album artwork. So this is a compilation. When it was released, it was, of course, if you don't know who KRS-One, he rose to fame in the early part of the 90s. I think Sound of the Police was like the one huge track that he had. A lot of really good stuff over his career, though. This compilation is all just a mixture of, it was all previously released stuff, but it was all like B-sides and new remixes. It's available on streaming services if you want to check it out. If you're an early 90s rap fan, it's definitely a cool one to stream and check out, I think. And then the last 3 albums on my list are all Amazon exclusive releases by Bruno Mars. The first one is Doo-Wops and Hooligans, released in 2010. It was his debut album. It's going to be on yellow and black splatter vinyl. It's going to run you about $25 online. This was the big album that made Bruno Mars a star. I swear, like half of this album seemed like it was all hit singles. Probably more than half of the album. I think he had like 6 singles that was released off of this album. It was huge when it was released, and this album was absolutely everywhere. Bruno Mars was absolutely everywhere. This is an album that, yes, it is a pop album, but it's got there's some really good stuff on here. There's some like reggae influence on here. There's some soul influence. There's some funk influence. There's a little bit of rock influence on here also. It's just a laid back, fun album. I've always enjoyed this one. It's actually the only album by Bruno Mars I have on vinyl. So you got that one coming out. Then you've also got Unorthodox Jukebox, which was released in 2012. It was the second album. This one's going to be on red and black splatter vinyl. It's also Amazon exclusive. It's going to run you about $25. As hard as it was going to be to follow up his debut, I think he did a really good job with this album. Of course, I don't think it's as good as his debut album. I think it's still a really good album, better than a lot of the stuff that was released that year. It was his first. It was first and only #1 album. It hit #1 on the Billboard 200. I think it sold like 2 or 3 million copies here in the U.S. Commercially, it was a hugely successful album. Like I said, I just don't think it was quite as good as his first album. And then the last one is 24 Karat Magic, released in 2016. It was his third studio album. It's on forest green and yellow splatter. This one's got a little bit more money. It's going to run you about $32. Out of his 3 albums, this was the least commercially successful album. I think it still hit #2 on the Billboard 200. It still sold over 1 million copies here in the U.S. It would win like 7 Grammy Awards that year. I think it was, I don't know if it won for Album of the Year. It was at least nominated for Album of the Year. Like I said, out of the 3 albums, it's probably my least favorite album from him, but there's still some really good tracks on it. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up this week. Like I said, I'm definitely going to grab that. I've already got that $1 Billion Babies on pre-order. I'll probably grab that Theater of Death. I'll probably grab that Rolling Stones album. I'll probably grab the CD version of it, though. I'll stream Invincible Shield. I'll stream the new Bleachers album. We'll see what I end up grabbing this week. Like I said, some really good stuff coming out. But, of course, like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep all spinning. Peace.